All right, good morning, good morning. My name is Ben. I am a student at TCAT Elizabethton. I am studying for pipe fitting and plumbing, and I have a large interest in math. I was homeschooled, and I'm realizing that I was not taught a lot about math, so I'm going back through and relearning or just straight up learning some things I was never taught. And while I'm on I guess a midterm break, I was going to show you how to visualize percentages. Now, mind you, I only really got this down pat a couple of hours ago, so I don't have it memorized, but I have it working. And there are plenty of people already online and on YouTube that are going to show you the actual way to do it, what a percentage means, and all of that. So I'm going to skip all of that basic junk and show you how to just visualize. Now, of course, 100% means out of 100 or something to that extent. So when we are visualizing this, I want us to start out with two separate lines. These are going to separate our percentage numbers and our whole actual numbers. Let's use blocks. Let's say that this side represents the amount of blocks we have, and this will represent the percentage of blocks. Wooden blocks, how about that? Since we know it's percent out of 100, 100 is always a number we have. There are three different operations that we have to calculate percentages. If we didn't always know the 100%, then there would be four, but there's only three variables that we'll have. So let's start with the first one I have written on the top in my notebook. If we want to discover the actual percentage of the number, if we don't know the percentage, then we calculate our two whole numbers, our two block numbers, and find out what that is. Let's say that 70 blocks out of the 120 blocks we have. Those are the numbers we have, and then we need the percentage. To do that, you would have to take 70 and divide it by 120. That, I've got it written down over here, is going to be 0.583, and I think it kept on repeating 3333, all of that. And the next thing you do after that, once you've got that number as a point, you just multiply it by 100, which is your percent. You multiply it by the 100, which you don't actually have to do on the calculator if you don't want to. Just move that decimal over to that. So the 70 out of our 120 is going to be 58%. That is how you do it. To visualize that one more time, if you know your whole numbers are 70 and 120, you're going to take 70, divide it by 120, and then times the answer you get by 100 to get the actual answer. That's how you do our first operation. That's when you have two whole numbers. Now let's go back to our visualization, and we always have 100. Let's say that we know that we have 35% of something. I guess someone told us it was 35%. But we have that, and we know that we also have 120 of these blocks, sure. We know that we have 35%, and we know that all of it would be 120, but what is our actual whole number? This time, instead of dividing, you are going to multiply. You will take your percentage number, which, mind you, these percentage numbers can be written out in different ways. 35 is the way I've kept it in my notes because that's the easiest way to transfer it. But what else can 35 be? 35 can be 0.35, or it can be 35 out of 100 as a fraction, which, can that divide anymore? 35. I think there is a way to divide that, but that's not what we're worried about right now. But anyway, there are multiple ways to write it, but I've chosen to keep the percentage. You take 35%, and you're going to times that by your complete whole number there, the total, 120. And if you were to do that, that would give you 4,200. And then you then divide, what the heck were you doing there? You divide that by your 100 again. And that's going to give you 42%. Okay, that is our second method. And now for our third, back to our visualization. We always have 100. And let's say we know that 12%, and 12% is going to be equal to 25 blocks. We have 25 blocks. We've been informed that that makes up 12%. But what is the whole number, the total? To find that, take your 25, your actual number, and then you divide that by 0.12. Now that one I actually did turn into a decimal for some reason on the paper, but you can do it the other way as well. If you are to divide that by 0.12, that's going to give you 0.833. That's the number we've gotten. That's the total amount, which you can fill in here, and I'll just leave the 3's alone. But if you want to do that the other way, you can. If we take 25 divided by 12%, that's going to give us a larger number. I guess, if I'm not mistaken, that would be 2833. And then you divide it by 100 again, and that just moves the decimal back. Those are the three methods. So why don't we try some of our own to make sure that you understand the process? Let's try method 1. Which would be what? We always have 100, and we don't know the percentage that we have. Let's come up with some numbers. 42. 42 is our actual physical number, and out of our total, we've got, how about 231? How about that? And I'm going to use my calculator because I am a bit slow. But if we have those numbers, then we take our 42. Let's see if I can show you that. Take your 42, divide it by 231, and that'll get, oh, what an interesting number. And then you times that by 100, which would be 18% is what that's telling me. Assuming I did that right. But that would be 18%. That's how you do that problem. Let's try the same method again. If we have always 100, and we have two actual numbers, why not do a really small one? If I biologically made 4 kids and I remarried a woman and she already had, what is that, 3, then I now technically have 7 kids. To do that, you would take 7 divided by 4, and that equals 1.75 times 100. Okay, hold on. What process have I screwed up here? Let's do that again. 4 and 7. You want to divide 4 by 7. There we go. There's the right number. And then times 100. So that would be 57% of the kids that I love more than the other kids. La-di-da-di-da. And once more, visualization, always 100. If I have 37 church chairs and they want me to go get the rest, which would be 82, you then take the top number, 37, divided by the bottom, 82, and then you take that answer, times it by 100, and that will give you 45%. 37 is 45%. Now let's do just one example of the second process and one example of the third. Visualization, always 100. If I was told, I'm running out of examples. If I was told that the price of a candy bar has been raised by 50%, which, mind you, 50 is an easy number, but let's use the process. If a candy bar was raised by 50% and I knew that the price used to be 120, the process I would use for that is take your 50%, times the whole number, 120, which equals that, and then divide by 100, and it's been raised by 60 cents, or dollars, whichever one you want. Alright, and then one more example for our third option, visualization, always 100. What do we call it? I don't know, I'm just going to use numbers, I'm running out of ideas. We are told that 11 is equal to 13% of our whole number. If $11 is equal to 13% of the entirety of our allowance for this week. Pardon. To do that, you would have to take your whole number, which is 11, divide it by your percentage, which, let's just use the easy one and do 0.13, which equals out to 84.6. 84.6 rounded down. That's how much money you got entirely. Yep, that all checks out. But anyway, I hope this has helped you visualize percentages. It certainly helped me, and I hope to make more videos in the future while on my break. Thank you.